Hey everybody, what's going on? Dave here, and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're gonna be making a spicy chipotle chicken dish, and this is a dish that I fell in love with at Carmelita's in Laguna Beach. It's a quaint little restaurant right downtown, and they don't have this on the menu anymore, and I was craving it, so I figure, why not try and figure it out on my own? And we came pretty close. This is a recipe that you probably have most of these ingredients laying around in your house. Tomato sauce, sour cream, mayo, garlic. We are also going to saute some mushrooms and some onions with a little bit of sherry. Now we're gonna be cooking our chicken in a water bath called a sous vide. And I've talked about this before if you've seen any of my other videos anywhere and things that I've done. It's my favorite way of cooking because it's foolproof. It's virtually impossible to overcook your food. So while the chicken is cooking, we are going to make our chipotle sauce, and you can do it a couple different ways. I did it with a full can of chipotle peppers, which was really good, but maybe too spicy for some. So that being said, we're gonna use a half a can today. After generously seasoning your chicken thighs with salt and pepper, use the water immersion technique to get as much air out of the bag as possible. If you don't have a sous vide, hang tight. But first, here's some more information on cooking sous vide. Sous vide translates to under vacuum. Your meat, fish, or veggies are put into a plastic Ziploc or vacuum sealed bag and submerged in a water bath set to a precise temperature. The temperature of the water is what cooks the food, not the flame or the heat of the oven. If you've ever had a nice cut of steak at a restaurant, chances are it was cooked sous vide. The constant temperature makes sure you have an even cook all the way throughout. Unlike the unpredictability of your stovetop or oven, you know you're getting a perfect cook every time. Our chicken thighs are cooking for at least an hour at 165 degrees to guarantee that it's cooked all the way through. After an hour, it won't overcook, but the connective tissue breaks down and changes the texture and flavor. Kenji Lopez-Alt, author of The Food Lab, does a great job of explaining the science on SeriousEats.com. If you have any interest at all, I highly recommend checking it out. Now back to the show. Let's get to the sauce. We've got a half a can of chipotle peppers, quarter cup of Mexican sour cream, quarter cup of mayo, cilantro, cayenne pepper, garlic powder, and of course, cumin. Start by adding your chipotle peppers to the food processor. If you don't have one, a blender will work just as well, or even an immersion blender if you have one of those lying around. You can add more or less depending on your tolerance for spice, but keep in mind, the cream and mayo helps balance the heat. Now let's add your Mexican or regular sour cream. Add your mayo, regular or light mayo if you're watching your figure. No Mexican dish is complete without fresh cilantro. Cayenne to bring the heat. And of course, who doesn't love garlic? Always double check the label when going for the cumin. You could accidentally grab the cinnamon and there's no coming back from that. Now we're gonna blend the sauce until it's nice and smooth, and of course add your salt and pepper to taste. You probably don't need a whole lot of pepper, but adjust it to your liking, and remember, you can always add ingredients, but you can't take anything out. You always wanna make sure to season everything with salt and pepper. The difference between a home chef and a professional chef is seasoning along the way. I love these handy plastic deli containers too. You can get a variety pack of them on Amazon for about 12 bucks or so. Plus, they're reusable and you can always send your friends home with leftovers and not have to worry about getting your Tupperware back. All right, let's head over to the stovetop. Now, we're gonna start off with 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. We don't necessarily wanna use something with a ton of flavor, so save your good extra virgin olive oil for when we make pasta. Add a cup of rice. And here's where it gets interesting. We're using a box of Uncle Ben's wild long grain rice. We got rid of the seasoning packet because it's not hard to season something out of a box with your own ingredients, and then you know exactly what's going into it. Now we're gonna let the rice brown. This will take about 3 to 5 minutes on medium high or so. Now let's hit it with some freshly minced garlic, because again, who doesn't love garlic? Salt, pepper, cumin, not cinnamon, a little extra. Stir it all up and incorporate all those ingredients. Here's another thing, a lot of people look at salt as the enemy. Sure, a lot of sodium isn't great for you, everything in moderation. Salt should actually be looked at as a necessity and most importantly, a flavor enhancer. Now to the liquid. half a cup of tomato sauce, a quarter cup of beef broth. If I had chicken stock on deck, I would have used that, but again, we're working with what we have in the house at the moment. Now let's give that a good stir, cover it, turn the heat down, and put it to right about a simmer. We're gonna let that sit for about 20 to 25 minutes until all that flavor and liquid is absorbed into the rice. Get your saute pan going to about medium high, add a swirl of olive oil, your yellow onion slivers. How much you wanna cook is really up to you. Depends on how many chicken thighs you have. Salt and pepper those babies. Once you get the onions nice and translucent, add your mushrooms. Add a little bit more salt and pepper. Remember, season along the way. Once we see the mushrooms starting to cook down and get a nice color on them, we're gonna add a splash of sherry, equal to about 2 tablespoons. Now don't worry, the alcohol is gonna cook out, so if you don't drink, not a big deal, and you're gonna be left with mouth-watering sauteed veggies that are pretty much restaurant quality. All right, so we've got an ice bath here. We're gonna take our chicken out. Chicken's been cooking for about 3 hours. Now, as I said before, that's not totally necessary. You can let it cook for an hour, and it will be done, and you can finish it on the grill or a cast iron, depending on what you have available. If you have charcoal, I highly recommend it. That's what we're doing today. The open flame, there's just something about it that is hard to beat. So while we're doing that, we got our rice and our mushrooms and everything together. So we're gonna finish off the chicken on the grill and toss it in some sauce. And I think we're almost ready to plate this thing. All right, so we're out at the grill. The classic Weber kettle grill is awesome. It was my first purchase when we moved into our new house. Even though we'll be slicing and smothering the chicken with the chipotle sauce, it's good to get in the habit of cooking with your presentation side down. In this case, we wanna make sure the chicken is skin side down. Now, if you go to lift up your chicken with your tongs and it sticks a little bit, it's not ready. Don't force it or you're gonna leave half the flavor on the grate. Wait until it comes up on its own and then you can flip it over. We're basting the chicken thighs with some of the chipotle. Now we're gonna let that sit and really soak into the meat. I have some of these seedless limes and threw them on the grill to add a little bit of color to the dish, and you'll see in the final presentation. All right, so we finished off the chicken on the grill. We're gonna plate it. We tossed the vegetables and a little bit of the sauce, just to kind of give it a little extra flavor, finish it off. So the veggies were almost done, and we just finished them with the sauce. Didn't cook them the entire time. That way. That looks pretty good. That is a perfect cook with the sous vide. All right, so rice goes down. The chicken next to it, add a little more sauce to the top of it. Yeah, that's looking good. Take your veggies. Garnish with a little bit of cilantro. It's all about color. And there you go. So there you go, there's our chipotle chicken dish for today. Like I said, you could probably make this with stuff that you have in your pantry, minus the chipotle chilies, which are only a couple bucks at the store. And yeah, check it out, I highly recommend it. And if you don't have a sous vide, I would get one as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, keep cooking, and we'll see you next time.